All right, guys, so today we are making our way to the capital of the state, Jackson, Mississippi. Now, after graduating high school, I relocated to the capital where I studied at Tougaloo College in Tougaloo, Mississippi, which is a small community right outside of Jackson, Mississippi. And today we are going to stop by the Mississippi Museum of History to give a little bit more information about the state itself and how it came to be. A little bit of a history lesson, so I hope you do enjoy. Now, I'm not going to pretend that Mississippi is this big sunshine state because no, it definitely has a dark history that we are still fighting to brighten to this day. And so that's what we're going to be diving into a little bit today, the formation of Mississippi, how it came to be, and how it came to be a part of the United States of America, its ugly history. And today you're going to see some of that history with the makeup on. There's some makeup on that ugly history today I found as I was exploring the Mississippi Museum of History. Now, when people think about contributions to American history, they very seldomly think about Mississippi and quite often just simply look us over. But people from Mississippi have actually contributed quite a bit to American culture, especially music. Mississippi is the home of American music. You have your big stars as well: B.B. King, Elvis Presley, Britney Spears, Brandy and Ray J. Norwood, Muddy Waters, so many legendary musicians who've come out of the state of Mississippi, and actors, actresses. You have Oprah Winfrey, you have Morgan Freeman, you have Andrew Ellis, who's also a product of Tougaloo College in Jackson, Mississippi. So there are so many greats, and those are just to name a few. The list goes on and on. May have to do a different special about that as well. But Kermit the Frog, just so many things that we know historically as Americans actually started right in the South, and quite often from Mississippi. All right, Mississippi. We are here. I went to school here, but I am from here. This is where I'm from. This is where I went to school. And then I left and moved to Atlanta, then Dubai. I'm pretty sure the Native Americans did not look like this because they were dark skinned. The Mississippi Choctaw Indians were dark skinned. They were not blonde hair, white skinned people. So I don't know what's up with this. Okay, little known fact, the Mississippi Choctaw tribe were actually darker skinned. Because of their darker skin, a lot of them during slavery were actually, their land was taken and they were forced into slavery with the slaves from Africa. Some of them even became slave owners, so it was either become a slave or become a slave owner for a lot of them. It's really a dark history. I'm not here to go that deep, but that is just a fact that I feel like was very much left out of this museum. So I wanted to add that tidbit in there for you. But don't trust me, do your own research. Now, this is a step into history, isn't it? Okay, so what I do like about the museum is that the layout is in chronological order. As you walk through, you can see everything in the perceived progression of the state. Okay, one other thing that I want to point out is the turning point of the state and when it became an actual state and part of the United States. So this was all inspired by the cotton gin, which was created by a slave. His name was Barclay. Eli Whitley supposedly sketched the cotton gin and then Barclay created it. But when you search it up, you see Eli everywhere. You don't see Barclay, the person who actually put everything together. You don't he was not acknowledged for a very long time. And so, yeah, just a little known fact that Barclay was a slave who actually created the cotton gin. And so cotton became this highly desirable product internationally. It was in high demand. And so that really encouraged the South to enslave even more people. There was a higher demand for slavery. And so you saw them, that's where all this kidnapping of free black slaves in the North who weren't even slaves. They were kidnapped and brought down South and turned into slaves because they wanted more cotton to produce to the world to make more money. So all of this played a part in the state of Mississippi becoming an official state in 1817. They joined the U.S. officially in 1817 because of how much they were producing. And honestly, it really boils down to money. Just at the end of the day, it boils down to money and economic power. Money and economic power, people. And later on in 1830, President Andrew Jackson signs the Indian Removal Act, forcing Choctaws to cede all remaining land in the state of Mississippi. So it was definitely a turning point and a quite horrific point for anyone who wasn't white in the South. So slaves back then contributed quite a bit to the growth of Mississippi, the South, and of course the United States. It was built on the backs of the enslaved. And after going up against the Union, the slaves were freed, but guess what? They didn't find out until June 19th, 1865. And that is why we celebrate Juneteenth in the South. Ever since I was much younger, we would go to Hattiesburg and have softball games and barbecues celebrating Juneteenth. I didn't know at the time the history of it, but it was something that I learned over time, especially considering that Juneteenth is my birthday. Yes, it is. So I've known about it for quite some time. I started researching very early on. So as an adult, I actually did a little bit more research and found out the history of it and celebrated it every year. However, it wasn't until 2021 that the United States recognized it as a federal holiday. And now more people are learning about it every day, and hopefully everyone will soon learn the importance of the date. And don't you worry, we will get into some civil rights activities in part 2 of our video. All right, guys, so that wraps up today's video on the 2 museums, part 1, the Mississippi Museum of History. Stay tuned for the next video where we explore the Civil Rights Museum. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We will get back to travel, but right now, we're going to learn some things. As always, it's your girl, Elle, just living. Love you bunches. Bye-bye.